2 o'clock.
It's
Alaska
Sunday.
time.
Woo, woo, woo.
6 o'clock on the East Coast.
2 o'clock here.
Nice having you with us. Another beautiful day here in the Fairbanks area.
We are absolutely loving this weather here.
The weather's phenomenal.
Unfortunately, our friends back home are sweating and we feel bad for them, but I feel so blessed to not be in Florida this summer.
Yeah, and the expected forecast for the entire Midwest region is going to be over 100. Heat index is over 100 degrees.
Yeah, it's rough. So you need to really take care of yourselves and make sure you're drinking enough fluids. I recommend having a cool towel to put around your neck. I know when I delivered mail, it was rough to try to keep your fluids in. So you had to eat salty food sometimes if you're doing a lot of stuff outdoors. You can get depleted really fast. It's pretty dangerous. So make sure you're listening to your body and taking the precautions you need to for the heat.
A good trick too is a small towel. Soak it in cold water or put ice cubes in it, wrap it up and throw it around your neck.
And they do make different neck towels just for that. I had one when I delivered mail. So it's very important because it can creep up on you fast and we don't want anybody falling out.
That's right.
So you got to take care of everybody.
Yeah. So what have we been doing this week?
This week, it's been another amazing week here in Alaska. I'm telling you, I don't know how I'm going to go back. I really don't. I really would love to stay here. At least, if nothing else, be a snowbird, where this is in my snowbird future every summer.
Yeah.
But this week, wow, what have we been doing? Got to keep track of it all. We went to the Antique Car Museum.
We did.
Was that this week? Sometimes they blur in together.
Yeah, I think we did that on an early day in the week.
And that was a lot of fun because, as everyone knows, I love old cars. Love them. I used to own a 67 Camaro, and it was my baby. I loved it so much.
Thanks for the Father's Day wishes. Appreciate it.
Yep, today's Father's Day, so I hope everybody was able to reach out and spend time with their dad, or at least have a phone call or a text or some kind of something. I know, unfortunately, in this day and age, what do you think you're doing? That's my coffee.
I'm toasting all the fathers out there.
No one gave you permission.
Here's to you, dads. I know it's not an easy job.
He's using my coffee.
This is coffee, by the way.
Okay, well, good job. You didn't drink any.
No, I didn't drink any.
I don't like to share my coffee. Anyway, so it's important, you know, to keep a good relationship with your dad if possible. I know, unfortunately, in the world today, a lot of kids grow up without their father or mother, and that has a big, I don't know, it's been a big thing with the way people are nowadays, not to be brought up in a home with both a father and mother. I know for my son, every year I get a message from him, Happy Father's Day, because I was a single mother. So,
yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are pulling double duty. So hats off to you. The kids are what need the focus. You got to raise them right. And unfortunately, there's a lot of kids that don't talk to their parents anymore, maybe because of a divorce or some silly thing that's keeping the communication unconnected. And that's awful because time is a precious thing. So you should really get over those little things that are holding you back from having a relationship. And there's many fathers who have adopted kids as their own, and that's a great thing to do. I know Brett did. And there's a lot of people who step up and take that role. So that's a great thing. It makes a difference in the children's lives. Definitely. And a lot of people have had their fathers pass away. So it's a hard time.
Yeah, it's tough.
So,
but the memories last forever.
That's right. So, you know, just stay in close with your circle. And if you just have your mom or sisters or brothers, keep in touch and try to have a good relationship as you can.
Yeah. Can you guys hear us okay? We do have our microphones on.
I'm hoping my hair doesn't get caught up in it.
We read the comments about the scratching or whatever. She had it clipped on her necklace, so we think that's what it was.
But my hair can wreak havoc too. This
Just
long hair.
let us know if you're hearing anything weird. We do have a fan running nearby, but it's on low, and that's just to keep the mosquitoes off her legs because they can be pretty bad at times. Okay, they say they can hear us. Good.
Yay.
Yay.
So, and I thank you very much for spending time with us today. I love the chance to get to know each other better. If y'all have questions, we try to answer them the best we can.
Yeah.
And we love hearing from you guys and getting to know you guys better.
Yeah.
That's a blessing. It's one of the things I love about having a channel is all the wonderful people we meet. Like coming to Alaska, we met Jason and his whole family, and they're a blessing. So I always talk about them because they're just wonderful people. And if it wasn't for the channel, we wouldn't have got the chance to meet them. So Alaska so far has been absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Even the little things here that could bother you, which I kind of think is only the mosquitoes so far, compared to being home in Florida. We have mosquitoes and a ton of other bugs, so I'll take these mosquitoes over all that. So, oh, thank you so much,
Thanks, Helen.
That's so
Bye-bye.
sweet.
Thanks for the 10.
He's clucking for the buck.
Somebody asked how we met. So she worked in the Otter Creek post office, and I owned the campground in Otter Creek, and then that's how we met. Short version.
It's all Otter Creek's fault.
It's all Otter Creek.
When are we going back to Tubetown? We'll be going back there in the winter.
It's about 77 degrees today, I believe.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Now, if you're in the shade, there's no humidity here. So if you're in the shade, it feels cooler than 77. So it's probably in the feel-like range of 71, 72. Very comfortable.
Very much so. Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, Jason, for the 2. Pa-pa.
Cluck, 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 cluck.
So you did try some moose burger and some bison burger. We had some bison burger we had already bought.
Yes.
And she loves it.
Thank you, Lynette.
Thanks, Lynette, for the 10.
She said, Happy Father's Day, Brett. That's so sweet.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and the bison burger was super delicious, but that moose burger, woo! And guess what? We've been invited over to have some moose burgers for Father's Day.
Moose burger with our Alaska family.
Yep.
So we'll be heading over there right after this live.
So it's always great to be able to spend time with family.
It's my moose call.
Hey, Moosey, Moosey, Moosey. You are so yummy.
So we also visited Pioneer Park. And there'll be a video coming out with that. We walked around the old town there. And I did find the building that used to have the 40 Below experience there in Pioneer Park, but it's no longer in Pioneer Park. They've closed it up, but I found the building. It's still there. It's kind of tucked in behind other buildings, but that was interesting. 92 in Williston. And
sorry
it's a humid 92. It probably feels like 107.
And yes, we have seen moose, not, well, I've only seen one around here. The rest were in Fort Greeley that we saw. And someone asked where you got this chicken. You remember where you got this chicken? George gave it to us. Gave us this chicken. So thank you, George, for that. George
is a big chicken fan, and we needed a thanks for the donation prop. So this is what.
So she thought that would be a cute thing, and she's brilliant, so she wasn't wrong. So what else did we do this week? We went to Eielson.
We did. I had a picture, but it's on my phone, and we're using our phone in this live. So I'll show it to you another time, or we'll post it up. But there's a huge, and it's an older building, but Eielson's gym is what I'm talking about. The gym at Eielson is very big. It's like almost a full city block, and it kind of catacombs and has a bunch of little rooms. They have a baseball pitching machine, of course, a basketball court. But the biggest thing is they have an indoor soccer / football arena.
It's pretty amazing.
With a track I think it's a 4-lane track on the second floor. So it's open from the second floor and you can just run around the track. And then there's a soccer field on the bottom. And I mention this because it's so big and you walk in there and go, wow, it does have wow factor. They got a bunch of different machines, weight machines around the outside of it. And these big curtains that go like 3 floors up. You pull the curtains when you're having a game so the balls don't, go way off and hit people.
So that was great. We went there and had an awesome workout this week.
But I say that because it was on the local news that Fort Wainwright is building one. They didn't say similar to it, but when they describe it, it sounds like that one. And they showed pictures of the diagrams. And it looks like they're going to be building an indoor sports arena too.
And what was the price tag on that?
$72 million. Woo! $72 million. That floors me. But with all the procedures and protocols and safety, all the permits and all of that.
It gets to be a little nuts.
Yeah, you end up spending probably $1 million of that just getting it ready to build.
I mean, they do have several nice gyms here. They have an ice skating rink.
They do.
They have a lot of stuff here.
It's a basketball court on one ring. It was originally built with 5 racquetball courts, but now I don't think they.
It doesn't.
One.
I don't think people play racquetball as much because I've noticed all the bases that we've been on, they've converted most of the racquetball courts to some other kind of weight room or workout
like
room
the
of some
soldiers,
sort.
what they want is just.
So I guess racquetball is out.
They're filling the racquetball courts with weight facilities.
Yeah, and they have some pretty amazing weight rooms on all the bases I've been on.
They got lots of equipment.
It's pretty amazing. So I know someone else asked, are you in Homer? No, we are not in Homer. We are in Fairbanks.
Yep.
We are staying at Fort Wainwright.
And we wanted to spend probably most of our time here because I know this area well. And plus the weather here is better than the weather down south. It's an Arctic desert climate up here. So it's dry and it's hot, Alaska speaking. So it'll hit 80s and that's hot for here.
Yes, I know a lot of the people, when it did hit the 80s, the locals were very hot and, I feel bad for them, but I didn't feel hot in the same way because I'm used to Florida.
Yeah.
Now, if I was here during the cold, I'd probably be the weenie over there going, oh my gosh, it's so cold. And they'd be like, this isn't cold. Yeah. So it just all depends where you're from. So when it's hot here to the locals, it's not hot to me.
Yeah, it's not.
But come wintertime, different story, I'm sure.
Yeah. And so down in Anchorage and the Kenai Peninsula, when we head down there, it's going to be more chances of rain. The clouds like to hang around.
It's a little cooler.
It's going to be a lot cooler because you're south of the mountain range. That's kind of protecting Fairbanks.
Kind of gloomy.
It warm. Yeah. Gloomy. Now the reverse is true in the winter. It gets colder here than it does down south. So then some people don't like to be in Fairbanks because it gets 40 below, 50 below. Anchorage doesn't get that cold. If they get 10 below or 20 below, that's cold for them. So the temperature range is much smaller down south than it is here. Here it can be anywhere. It can be up to 100. I have experienced 100 degrees in Fairbanks out in the sun, and we were doing lawn work, and it was hot. That was hot.
Yeah, and you have to be careful.
Yeah.
And, really listen to your body. That's the thing. Be in tune with what's going on, and don't try to push forward if you're starting to feel
Was it earlier
off.
This week they do actually get thunderstorms, a lot of thunderstorm warnings, but they're not thunderstorms like Florida thunderstorms.
Yeah, there was a good rain day.
Yeah, it was a moderate rain.
It's much different than Florida, mind you.
Yeah, it's more noise than lightning. It's more thunder rolling, but not a thunder boom. So it's less dramatic. The news,
no boom chicka pop.
No boom chicka pop. But the news does make a lot of it because it's unusual. But the storm cells that I have seen blow through here probably would not make the news in Florida because normally
absolutely not.
that's not.
Of course, Florida.
That's not a thunderstorm.
South Florida, especially this past week, has been
Oh, they got
having
slammed.
such bad rain. And back in my hometown, Hollywood, and I remember living there when these things would happen and everything's flooded. And I got all my friends posting on Facebook pictures of everything going on. And I can't believe any of my people still live down there because it's so crowded, so expensive. And then when it gets rainy like that, it can flood up in a hurry. So I feel bad for them during these times, but that's just one of the things I don't miss about South Florida.
That's the one drawback I'm going to say with Fairbanks. It's not just Fairbanks, it's Alaska, and it's because of the distance that you're located from supplies that get flown in, shipped in, trucked in. It's very expensive here. We went to a dinner. All we had was prime rib, a baked potato. We drank water, and we had the salad bar. We each had the same meal. We paid $96. Yeah, $96. That includes tip. We gave a $20 tip.
But do you know that anywhere you go these days,
$40 a plate.
Even fast food restaurants are absolutely ridiculous. And while I would love Alaska to be my home base, it is pretty expensive to live here. So I don't see that happening. I would more see spending summers here for sure. But, you know, if you stumble upon a deal, you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
So I would love to live here.
Yeah.
But, you know,
for 4 months.
Who knows? I don't have any crystal balls. So who knows?
But that's not the only thing expensive here. The healthcare is expensive. The food is expensive. You can't get away from it. So there are things you can do here to keep things cost down. Like they hunt and they fish here. So if you get you a moose, that'll feed a family of 4 or 6 for at least a couple years. So it's a lot of meat, but that's only one aspect of it. All winter, you're going to have heating oil costs, and you go through a lot of heating oil. It's just expensive to live up here. The utilities, Fairbanks is actually the second. Alaska is the second most expensive state for utilities, only second to Hawaii. And I believe Fairbanks has the highest utility rates. GVEA is their power company, but there is no competition for them. So it's GVEA. They own the roost. They can charge what they want. And I remember an electric bill being $350 a month. That's in the summer, and we don't have AC. So think about that. You're mostly running circulation pumps to keep the floors heated, to keep your baseboards heated. But in the summer, you're not running those. So you're paying $350 a month for electric. And that's not air conditioners because they don't have air conditioners there. Some businesses do. But anyway, we'll get off that topic. We're moving right along.
I'll fall asleep
it's
over
expensive here.
I'm not really sure what the apartment rent average is around here. I haven't really looked into any of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Someone was asking about our sweatshirt back here, the Madam Mayor's Adventures, and Deanna, our good friend Deanna, actually designed this for us.
Yep.
And there is a link to it in our bio if you wanted to buy one. She did make 2 designs. I love them both. So thank you, Deanna, for designing that. She is very artistic. She's a wonderful person, and she does a lot of neat stuff. So we do miss her. I just talked to her this week very briefly, and it's always nice to hear from the people back home.
And she sent me a Happy Father's Day greeting this morning. So.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yep.
Very nice. Gotta love good people.
So I want to talk just real quickly about RV life in general. So far with the coach that we picked out, I think it's worked out great. There's a couple little tweaks I'd like to maybe look at when we get back to our a more lengthy home base. The Murphy bed that's in there, instead of the up and down with the Murphy bed, because what it does, if you remember, I took out the electric risers in case they failed, because if they fail in the down position, then you're stuck with a bed you can't move up, which means you can't get your slide in, which means you can't travel. So I took those out. So it is a push up, pull down now, and that works great. The problem with the bed being pushed up is that you lose access to your overhead cabinets and windows. There's 2 windows there, and I'd like for that to have a view from that living room area. I would like to get a bed that goes sideways instead of out in toward the opposite side of the coach, but one that goes lengthwise. I need to take the dimensions of that and check that out, but I am contemplating either putting a hinge on that Murphy bed, so when you push it up, you can push the top back down, and that would give me access to the windows and the overhead cabinets, or taking the Murphy bed out completely and just build a wooden frame and just put a different upscaled, more of an upscaled bed on the frame going lengthwise. So then there would be no movement of the bed. The bed would just be stationary.
So that will be a project for when we get back to Florida. While we're hanging out during the winter time in Florida, we'll work on that project and see which way we want to go.
Yeah,
but that would be a definite good thing to do.
I'm still toying with that. I'm also toying with the idea of some TPS monitoring, like for the tire pressures. I check them regularly before we move anywhere, but it would be nice to know while you're driving, hey, one tire is losing pressure, it's also heating up. That could spot a potential blowout, and you'd like to get ahead of that before it happens. Because when these tires blow on these RVs, they tend to take all the siding off with it, and that can be very expensive to replace. So I'm looking at some TPS monitoring. I have 6 wheels on the coach, 4 wheels on the Jeep, and it would be nice to have 10 sensors for all of it. But I don't know. I'm still looking at that.
And RV life in general, I know we've noticed a lot of things that we brought along with us that we didn't really need to bring. So when we go back to Florida, we will be switching out. We do have a little trailer. Was it 6x10?
6x12.
6x12. So we have a little trailer that we have some long-term things packed in. We didn't keep very many things at all because there's still some of my eBay stuff in that trailer too. But there is a lot of things we'll be leaving back there because you don't really need as much as you think you need.
Yeah, you really don't.
But there are some things you find out that are very valuable, like the collapsible bowls, the plastic plates. Those things are going to be, tremendously valuable to have. Organizers, any way you can organize little things because you have such little space, you need to make the most of it. And staying organized is a huge way.
And we're going to substitute some of the glass bowls and plates with
all that's going back in the long term.
Back in the long term
when we go back. And a lot of the clothes, we brought more clothes than we needed to bring. But you never knew we had to bring long sleeve shirts and short sleeve shirts, shorts and pants because you didn't know what to expect. So you kind of had to have a little bit more. And it's a whole learning lesson. Even being in a smaller RV like this with 2 people, you need to learn to work around each other, to be patient and not just be all about me, which is good advice in general in life. I think if more people were a little less about me, everything would work a little bit better. Yeah. So you just got to be more considerate of each other and more patient. Has there been anything else? I think we're adapting very well. I love being able to be outdoors. It's a good trade-off. So I'm definitely enjoying it.
Somebody real quick was asking me if I know where Camp Grayling is. I do not. I'm not familiar with it. Real quick on that.
Someone else was also asking, have we seen any bears? Not while we've been here.
Not since we've been here. Now coming up here.
Yeah, during the drive up here, we saw a tremendous amount of bears, but so far, none here.
I had one come right up to the door, right to the window of the RV. And
while we were driving.
Not
while we're here.
Not here in Canada. But we were driving, and I wanted the guy to get ahead of me a little bit, so I kind of pulled over. There was a bear. We looked at him, and when I rolled the window down, we were videoing him, and he walks over to the RV. He gets a little close for my comfort, so I put the window up, and we start moving because I'm thinking all he's going to do now is
and he was just sitting there looking like, hey.
He was a medium-sized bear. I didn't want him in my window.
Your friend.
He comes in the window and goes, I'll take that.
He wanted my phone.
He probably wanted my head. He probably smelled the food in the RV going through the window.
So you don't play around with stuff like that. So
I was going to let him get, in the road, but not in the window.
But around here on the in our campsite, there's a lot of squirrels, there's
Yeah.
birds, stuff like that. But
Now,
other
there,
than
there
that,
can be moose. There's moose droppings not far from here. So
yeah,
moose can stray
yeah,
into
they are
here.
around here. We
They're
just
here.
haven't
We just
seen them.
haven't put eyes on them.
So, what else?
What else you got there? You
So,
got some thank yous over there?
well, I do have one thing that had come in the mail.
Okay.
And I did want to thank anybody who sent us anything off the wish list. We still haven't gotten it. Being in Alaska, the shipping does take a little bit longer. So if you don't see us opening something that you had bought us off the wish list, excuse me, that's why, because we haven't received it yet. It'll probably come in this week.
If you have tracking numbers on that stuff, email it to Therese so that she can track it from here. We don't have tracking numbers on stuff that's bought on the Amazon wish list. So we have no way of knowing where to check, because we're checking the on-base
Yeah, we keep
post
checking,
office and the off-base
but without
post
the
office.
tracking number, I don't know if it's been delivered yet or not. I don't know why Amazon doesn't provide the tracking number, but it would make it more helpful and it would make sense. So that's probably why they don't do it, right? So I did receive this, and this is
I believe the link for the wish list is
in the bio.
Yeah, is in the bio.
It's also in each video description.
Okay.
For the merch and the wish list is in the bio and in each video description.
If you go to our main page and go to the bio, then it's down. The links are listed there in the bottom.
So this thing comes from a company called Rose Forever.
Yeah, this is a really neat thing.
And they have roses that are preserved in these oils that are supposed to last at least a year, possibly even a couple of years.
Oh,
so blue is my favorite color. Boy, it matches my shirt very well.
Matches mine better.
So they sent me some blue roses, and we'll see if the claim is right. It says don't touch them, don't water them, don't do anything, just keep them away from direct sunlight, and it's supposed to last, like I said, a year. Some people have had them last 2 or 3 years, so we'll see if that really happens or not. But they are sure pretty. I guess guys could save some money on flowers if they last that long, then they just have to buy it once.
Yeah.
But so that was the mail we had for this week. And get this sucker back in here.
We'll just leave it there for now. We'll get it later.
Stay. And again, I wanted to thank all our members. We do have memberships. We only have 2 tiers and we don't charge too much for them. And we do a live video once a week in the higher tier. So thank all you guys for joining and hanging out with us a little extra. We appreciate it. And we appreciate everybody on all levels. It's nice just to be able to talk to everybody.
Yeah, so someone's asking about the daylight. We're 4 hours behind the East Coast here. So we're an hour behind the Pacific Northwest. So we're an hour behind California. Alaska has its own time zone. They used to have 9 time zones at one time, but they have one time zone, Alaska Standard Time, and we're 4 hours behind the East Coast. So we should be coming up on 2:30ish.
And I still haven't adjusted. I don't know if I'm ever going to adjust.
The sun sets at almost 1 in the morning, and it rises again before 3 in the morning. So you get about an hour and a half of not even true darkness, but twilight.
So I've noticed I want to stay up really late and sleep in later here. And when we've gone out to a few places, that must be the theme, because I know a lot of stuff doesn't get started around here till afternoon.
Yeah. I used to fly my ultralight like at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So between 10 and 12, I'd go flying because that's when the air is best. It's cooler, it's calm, and it was great flying at night. But when I took that ultralight to Florida, it was really hard to find time to fly it. And the weather was really unpredictable, and your daylight hours are very short.
Florida weather is kooky.
I ended up selling it.
So, and another thing I've been enjoying is the chaga tea.
Oh, yeah.
It is so delicious. And Jason's brother, Jeff, gave us a whole gallon of it. That was so sweet of him, but I do enjoy it. It is so good.
It's good for you too. It's supposed to have antioxidants in it.
Yeah, I was reading some stuff online that's supposed to help with cancer and whatnot. So it's a good tea. So I was thankful for a whole gallon of it. It's like a Christmas present. So gotta love that.
Yeah, the Arctic Circle would be fun to go see, and also to take the path of up to Dawson Creek, or Dawson City rather. But I don't want to go on those gravel roads with this new coach. It just beats it up and knocks the paint off, and you're susceptible to flat tires, and it's just not worth it. Going up to the circle, and I've never been personally, but a lot of people have. They come back with cracked windshields, blown tires, damaged equipment on their vehicle, and then I don't think it's worth it just to say that I was at the Arctic Circle. I think they have a tree, a picnic table, and a sign that says Arctic Circle, and that's it. Well, I'm not going to trade that for need a new windshield, $1,200, need a new tire, $200.
We'll save that for another adventure.
I'll let other people do that, and we'll watch their videos. We're going to keep this thing on the pavement.
Sounds like a good deal. So what else you want to talk about? I know still people were talking about the subscriptions.
The subscriptions,
and the subscribers being scrubbed off of YouTube. Yeah. So again, I mentioned that last week. If you notice that you were unsubscribed, just resubscribe. Make sure when you hit the bell, you select all so that you can get notified of videos. They periodically do different scrubs, apparently. So just check on that and see. You may need to resubscribe. It's free to subscribe.
It looks like a 3-hour difference to Iowa because we're at 2:30 now. We started this live at 2 o'clock local.
Local. Yeah, it's going to be a big adjustment going back to Florida with the time and the daylight and all these different things. And
we have something else coming up this week.
We do?
In Florida.
In Florida.
What's coming up?
Dun, 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 dun.
Town hall meeting.
Dun, 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 dun.
And we do have some information and some news about this month's town hall meeting. Take it away, Madam Mayor.
So I was looking at the agenda, and I can see the new business list a new board member, the vacant seat. So they will be addressing the vacant seat, which means that Don vacated his seat. I do believe
it's Don that vacated.
I do believe he was given a chance to come back. So being that that's the new business listed, they are going to be talking about the vacant seat. So yay, we can get somebody in there that's interested in doing good for the town. Wouldn't that be super great to have a board full of people wanting good for Otter Creek?
It's not doing this.
So what that means at this meeting is there's just going to announce the vacant seat, and then people would put in their letters of interest so that in the July meeting they can vote on somebody.
Yeah, so what they'll do is they'll announce there's a vacant seat, and they'll have a date. Usually it's a week. They'll have the dates, and Belinda will probably provide that in the next meeting. I don't know that for sure, but I'm just guessing. And they'll give the dates, the window of open. In other words, you'll have like a week. Let's say you'll have a certain deadline date that you have to get your letter of interest into the town hall to let them know to get on the list of, you could have multiple people.
Yeah, there could be quite a few people that put in. It's anybody's guess who's going to put in.
Yep.
You have all the usual suspects who usually put in. So I'm sure at least one of them will put in, if not all of them.
But this does not go up to a vote. It doesn't go to the town vote. This is a board vote.
This is a board vote. So whoever the board decides would be the most qualified for the position out of all the letters of interest, they will make their vote for that. So hopefully all the good people put in for it, and that they have good people to choose from, because nobody wants to put another bad member on the board. You want good things happening for the town. So
the one thing that's good about that is you're going to have Zim and Joseph and Carl, and then Laura.
And you have Laura.
And those 4 people will be voting on which one of those they want to accept.
Right.
So that's how that'll work.
So like I said, hopefully they get a good amount of letters of interest, or at least one. That's all you really need is one good person. So hopefully that happens. I did also find out, I had someone sent me an interesting article regarding the Form 6.
Yep, listen up to this.
And someone had said that it's been appealed, but I couldn't find any news article about it actually being appealed. However, you will find, if you look up the Form 6 in Florida, that a federal judge has blocked the law, blocked it, ruling that it has likely violated First Amendment rights, and they will not enforce the law.
They won't enforce it.
So it should be getting appealed also. So they do not have to do the Form 6. It will revert back to the Form 1. I'm not sure if they used to in the past do the Form 1 by paper, and they did it with the Levy County Supervisor of Elections. It has moved to the Commission on Ethics. They are the ones doing it. It is done online. And I don't believe, I'm not really sure, don't quote me on it, but I don't think that you have to fill that out to fill the vacant seat in order to qualify or anything like that for the vacant seat. As my understanding is that you would need to fill it out by July 1st of the following year. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong, but that is the last thing I have read on it. Sometimes they don't put up the latest information on the site, but reading it, that was the last I found. July 1st being the deadline that you would have to do it to fill the vacant seat. So, and the Form 1 is a lot less intrusive, obviously, of Form 6. So that is a wonderful thing that has been done. It's a shame that that ever went into play. I wish that before they actually did it, they would have came in the middle of Form 1 and Form 6 and done a better job and research on that before putting something ahead that had so many people resigning. I think that was very rushed decision
a lot of good people
with not a lot of good research beforehand. So unfortunately, it is what it is at this point, and now that's been taken away, so that'll be better.
Someone asked, what if they decide they don't want any of the candidates? Let's say Russ and Don put in, and that was all that put in. Do they have to pick one?
Nope.
They can leave the seat vacant.
They can.
But the risk you run into is a 2-2 tie on things.
Right. But if they didn't vote for them that meeting, they could throw it to the next meeting and give another chance, and maybe somebody would put in. But
I don't think that'll happen.
You don't have to just pick somebody.
Because you got 3 good people, and Laura we don't know yet. So even if Laura is bad, you still got a 3-1 majority. So it only takes a 2-1 majority to get someone to fill the seat, as long as those 2 agree. It'd be hard for them to seat somebody on the board that Zim is not going to approve of, or
after everything the town of Otter Creek has been through and the amazing strides they in the past year, where they are now, I don't foresee things going back the other way. I think things can continue to go in the right direction with the right people. So I do believe a good person is going to put in a letter of interest, and everything will just continue to go in the right direction.
So y'all are mentioning people. What about Jessica? What about Brian? You must be an Otter Creek resident to get on the board.
Right. And they don't live there.
They don't live there.
Just because you see a lot of different people in Otter Creek, a lot of times they are friends with people who live in Otter Creek. They care about Otter Creek, but they're not particularly a resident, so they cannot be on the board. You have to be a resident to be on the board.
The good thing that I like what Zim has done is he has assigned responsibility to the board members.
Yes, I did notice that, and that was something I wanted to do because, again, that just shows who is involved in the town. Everybody who's on the board needs to be involved in the town and have specific duties and interests for the town. And I did see on the new agenda that a few of those departments were assigned to people, and that is wonderful. Of course, you always had Zim over the water. That is who I assigned at the time. Richard is the maintenance man, so he is logically over maintenance. Belinda is over the administration because she is the clerk. But the one new thing is Laura Mott is under the parks and is Parks and Safety, I believe.
Yeah.
And that is a very good place for her to be because she's very knowledgeable in that department. And that's
Right.
where
That's
you
what
want to
do.
put people
Right.
is where is their interest? What are they knowledgeable in? Because she's going to make great strides in that department for the town. So it makes people more invested in the town. But of course, you have to have people that want to head these different things. Russell didn't want to do anything. Don didn't want to do anything. So I couldn't assign somebody something they're not going to participate in.
All the times that Russell was the mayor or vice mayor, he was never assigning duties to anybody.
Those people didn't even show up to the workshops that they should have showed up. You think they were going to do anything for any departments?
It's very clear now that Don and Russ absolutely do not care about the town. They've walked off boards. They've walked out of meetings. They've done it multiple times. They didn't just do it during our tenure and while camera were running, but they have always done this.
Always done this.
Always done this.
It's okay. It's my friend. But it's just wonderful to see that these things are changing. So I'm very happy to see good things happening on the board. I think it's great to see Laura Mott over the Parks and Safety. That's the best.
See what she does with it.
Best department for her. I'll continue to be positive and hopeful. Everybody has the chance to change and do the right thing. And I do believe she's going to, and I'm just going to keep positive.
So do y'all understand now why it was so important that Madam Mayor assigned the 1-year term to Russell Meeks? Because if Russell was on that board now still, he'd probably be the mayor because he had the majority at that time. He would also he would have Laura and Don on the board with him. So no matter what, it's going to be 3-2 in their favor. It would just continue. The drama would continue. And Zim has been on that board where he was the only one member, and he couldn't vote anything. He couldn't get anything, to pass. Everything was Russell's way, and everybody followed Russell. Nobody thought for themselves. Nobody had a brain. It was just do whatever Russell says do, and it's monotonous. It doesn't get Otter Creek anywhere. It creates a lot of infighting, and that's why the town needed to be unincorporated. Now, where do we stand now that the numbers have flipped? I still believe the town would benefit from being unincorporated. They still can't afford police protection. They still can't afford code enforcement or animal prevention, animal control. They can't afford those things. And this new community center they want to build, hey, that's up to them. I don't think they'll be able to maintain it. The town won't be able to maintain it. Now I have other thoughts about this community center, but I'm not going to share them here. It's sensitive to other
things are going in a positive direction, and that's what everybody needs to focus on is the positive. Prayers do work, and I urge everybody to continue to pray for the town of Otter Creek and that the drama does end. I know a lot of people are addicted to the drama there and like the drama there, but that town needs to heal and it needs to move forward in good things.
It really needs to get some nice, some more business-minded people to come into the town. And someone had asked if you would go back there. Teresa and I, the campground brought us to Otter Creek. We didn't come to Otter Creek. There's nothing else about Otter Creek that would draw me to it, not in its current state. It never has been that cute little town. It always had the potential to be that cute little town with the right people.
And it will be in the future.
And it will be, but it's not there yet. And it's going to take a while.
So we will always go back to Otter Creek to at least visit.
We have friends there.
But again, I don't have a crystal ball. I never know what the future could hold. So I will never say never because I don't know.
We're not looking to buy property in Otter Creek. We're not looking to buy property.
I don't think there's any for sale anyway.
Yeah. property there for sale anyway.
So, and I did see also on the agenda for old business, they're going to talk about the festival again, and that it was very short and sweet as to what they'll be talking about, but those are the things I saw on there that I'm glad to see it continuing to move forward. So it should be a very good meeting, and they should continue to be good meetings, good in the positive fashion. So that's wonderful. I love seeing it. So anything else about Otter Creek?
I think that was it. But that was pretty important.
Yeah. So we'll keep praying that a good person will get on the board and things continue to move in the right direction.
Remember Russ says, you don't have that authority? Debunked. I don't have my shirt, but debunked.
Yep. You never know. We might be residents of Tubetown, baby. Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Mayor in Tubetown. President too.
I don't need that job. Travis has got it under control.
That's his gig. We'll let him run with it.
What else we're going to talk about? Well, that's another thing about RV life. This week we did have to find some health care. I did need a minor outpatient procedure. So that's another thing when you're not near your doctors, what do you do? So that's a big worry for people in RVs. So we did have to call around and see who takes the insurance around here. And we do have the TRICARE Select. So
real quick, there's TRICARE Prime and TRICARE Select. TRICARE Prime requires you to have a primary care manager. So it's the same doctor you go to all the time. But when you're on the road, you can't really use Prime because we're not going to drive back to Florida.
The only way you could use the Prime is if you were on a base that allows retirees health care on the base, if you had the Prime, which that's not as common. So you're better off picking the Select. So with the Select, you cannot get treated on the base. So we went to the hospital on the base and they referred us to a few other places. So everybody here, again, is super helpful. I really appreciate that. Even when I had to call around to the doctor's offices, I noticed a much better response than I'm used to getting in Florida because there's so many more people in Florida that you're not given the same amount of time when you go to a medical facility. Everything's quick, rush. Now, the doctors and nurses have some great skills in Florida because they see such so numbers of people. Yeah. So they can do procedures a lot quicker and better, but them getting you into the office is not easy. But once you get in there, you can be sure usually that the doctor or nurse you will see can handle what you need done quickly in the right fashion.
So here it was just the opposite. Just the reverse of that. You got in quick. We went into it's like
an urgent care
like
type
an urgent
of place.
Care. They call it something else. We went into an urgent care, which you can normally expect there to be a long wait, but we were in. I think we were seeing a doctor in 30 minutes.
Yeah, and all together, I don't even know if we were there for about 2 hours. Yeah. But the people were very friendly there, nice. Very helpful, but because they don't see as many people, they're not used to doing a bunch of these type of procedures. So she was a little hesitant with the procedure, and she wasn't able to do it completely as she was supposed to, but it was done good enough for a good result.
Yeah.
So that's all I can say about that. I'm very appreciative for the care I was given, for her caring attitude. She was a wonderful person, but she didn't have as much experience as what I'm used to. I hope that explains it well. Yeah. So I was glad to get the care I got.
Now, because I couldn't do like the second part of it, we'll just say, she has called and referred us to a place in Anchorage because she knew that we're traveling. We'll be in Anchorage in a couple of weeks. If there was someone down there that we knew that takes TRICARE Select, that's a military benefit TRICARE, if you're not familiar with it. So it is very affordable, but they're very particular. They don't pay for as much as other providers might provide or pay for, but you're not paying this huge premium.
Right.
So the higher the premium, the more benefits you're going to get. But if you're not using those benefits, then you're wasting your money paying this high premium.
But
So it's a handoff.
all in all, I'm very happy to have received the
Mhm.
care I got in such a fast manner with friendly people. I feel much more comfortable now having to have had that done because I was worried too. You know, it's different when you're used to going to the same doctor all the time. So that was a new experience of the RV life, and it turned out great.
She's going to be calling around to find the specialist. So they seem to have fewer specialists here, more nurse practitioners here who have a broad scope, but under sometimes you need a specialist, right? So it's harder to find a specialist up here in certain things. And so sometimes they have to get referred to Anchorage, and sometimes even I've heard patients get referred all the way to, for the military, I think it's called Madigan. Is it Magadan or Madigan? I can't remember. Down in Seattle, the hospital there at Fort Lewis. It's called Fort Lewis Joint Base, something I forgot. They keep renaming these bases, but anyway. So the military, if you had an advanced procedure that needed to be done, they would refer you out first to the Fairbanks. But I think that's changed. I think the Bassett Army Community Hospital now does more procedures than the off-post one does. Not for sure on that. But then you get referred to Anchorage, and if they can't do it, then it gets referred to Seattle area. So that's what happens here. The primary care moves Madigan. That's it. I did travel through Madigan and had to get some meds because I got sick. They helped me out.
Well, in the future, that urgent care center will be moving into the hospital. And I know in Florida, a lot of them do that, which is another good thing because if they can't handle some of the different stuff in the urgent care, they'll just send you over to the emergency room side. And there's usually a doctor that can help you on that side. So it just makes it a little bit better when they're all in the same building.
Lewis McCord says, yeah, that's right. They change all the names.
But I do need to remember to start calling around and making my doctor's appointments for when we get back to Florida so we can have all the normal routine things, seeing the dentist and all that good stuff for your annual exams. So got to get on the planning and making calls for that as well. It's always fun. So it's important to take good care of yourself.
It would be nice to have TRICARE Prime, but then you're isolated to your one primary care manager. And if you're traveling, now you got to get permission to use a different one, which means you have to make a call, they have to approve it, or else your billing is going to suffer. You're going to end up paying for the whole thing.
Yeah. In the first year in Otter Creek, we had the Prime, and they were requiring us to drive all the way to Brooksville to see a doctor, which was quite a drive.
It was an hour and a half.
So it's a little ridiculous.
That's counterproductive.
So that first year, I felt like we were paying for insurance and not even able to use it.
Right.
So, and virtual appointments, I know we did some of those during COVID, but they're pretty limited. And
limited.
I noticed that after COVID ended, because during COVID, a lot of those were free or really cheap, the virtual appointments. Well, after everything ended, they turned the virtual appointments into being more expensive in some of the specialists I was seeing. And I thought that was ridiculous. But healthcare is interesting at times.
Yeah, it's I think
it can be it's necessary, but it can be a racket.
It's also a racket. That's what I was going to say.
So you need to have common sense a lot of times when you're prescribed different things. Do your research, listen to your body. You know your body like nobody else knows your body. So don't take what one person says as gold. You got to do your research and weigh it all out.
What are some other things we might be doing this week? We think we might be trying to hit up some trails. I think we've signed up for all the activities that are big in this area. We've done the Gold Dredge, and we've done
there's a few other museums we can go to and possibly you'll go to, but nothing really big. I know we want to go to the Thompson Center.
Oh yeah, we
still.
still gotta go to the Thompson Center and do that,
Um,
but that's a free thing. We want to hike some trails, maybe Angel Rocks out toward Chena Hot Springs. We might do that. But that's kind of what we're going to do with the rest of our time here. We got about, I don't know what date it is, but we got about 10 days.
It's the 16th.
Oh, wow. So we got about
Time flies when you're having
we
fun.
got about 2 weeks left here. And then we'll be heading down toward Denali. So we want to see Denali Park or Mount McKinley, whatever they're calling it these days. It used to be both. I think it started out Denali. I think they renamed it Mount McKinley, and now they renamed it Denali again. I don't know, whatever it is.
And then part of it's closed too for a couple years.
Yeah, they had a landslide there, so the bus tour that takes you all the way into Wonder Lake is not even available. So you might just do the drive-in. You can drive in about 8 or 12 miles.
Something of that nature.
Around, but
I mean, I definitely want to do as much as we can regarding that. And I guess the extended version of that will be whenever the couple years later they get it done and we're back here, we'll go do that.
Now, between here and Anchorage, it's only a 6-hour drive, but we're probably going to take 2 to 3 days to do it because there are some beautiful spots where you can pull off. There's a War Memorial Museum, which would be a good place to camp if they let you, as long as there's no signs there saying no camping. But there's a lot of pull-out spots that they do allow you to camp.
Jason said we're not allowed to leave.
But we don't yet know what we're going to be doing in Anchorage. I don't know that town as well. I've only been there a handful of times, and they were mostly soccer tournaments or football tournaments for the kids. So
Los Anchorage is going to be like a whole experience.
It is, but it's like any other city, just about. I mean, they got moose, but outside of that, it's a big city. So they have all the things that you might need, the healthcare you might need, and all of that. Fairbanks is small and limited. They're a long way from everything, so everything costs more here because, the next sizable city is Anchorage, and it's 6 hours away. So there's not many towns that can say that. Hey, we're 6 hours from the nearest city. Fairbanks can claim they're 6 hours from the nearest city, and in the winter it can become unpassable. It can become 9 hours, 10 hours, or even unpassable. They've dropped a couple feet of snow on the Parks Highway, and then you can't get to Anchorage. But it's only a 45-minute flight if you fly down there. Real quick flight.
Oh, well then.
That won't get our motorhome there though.
No sir. No sir. But it's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of cool activities to do around there, so I'm excited.
I don't know about any insurances in Canada, how that works. We didn't.
Yeah, I don't know either. I would think they probably don't, except U.S. insurance, but I have no idea how that works. I know when I went to Israel, they offered like a traveler's healthcare insurance policy you could buy with different levels.
Maybe we have some viewers that are in Canada and had some friends visit them from the U.S. and they had to go see a doctor. They might could tell you. Most of Canada's population is down on the U.S. border.
I know I got our gold from the Gold Dredge 8, and I still want to get like one of those little lockets to put it in. I was looking online. They have a bunch of different little lockets. They have pretty heart ones.
I don't know if you can even see it. I don't want
We probably can't see it inside of there.
Can you see it?
No, I don't think so. Well, you might need a magnifying glass anyway, because there's not that much in there.
$26.
Like, no big ballers here. But I do want to take it and put it in one of those little lockets. So that's something I got to put on my list. Are you going to take the RV on a boat ride?
No.
Not going to put some skis on it and take it out there?
You can hear the gold.
Oh, let me listen to your bling bling. Woo-hoo.
Yep, we got to go back through Canada. If they let me in, right?
Right? I don't know. We might be stuck in Alaska. You never really know.
I think my chances of getting back are greater than coming in.
You never know.
But you never know.
You never do know.
It's up to each agent that you happen to hit when you go through. If you hit somebody on a bad day, you're not coming in. You're not coming in.
You better hope they drank their coffee and it's not that time of the month.
Then do we just go back to Alaska and then overnight somewhere, boondocking, and try it again 12 hours later. Hopefully,
I
get
don't
a
know.
different person.
Guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So how you feeling this week from eating a little bit better?
A little bit better.
I'm feeling pretty
I
good.
still got a lot more work to do, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, I do too. But this week I've eaten a lot less bread. I haven't been eating sweets.
We did a workout this morning right here at the campground.
Yeah. Last week we only did 2 workouts, so we were a little lazy last week. I like to at least try to get in 3 or 4. I'm starting out slow. I used to go to the gym almost every day of the week for an hour and a half to 2 hours. I was a bit of a gym rat at one time, and that fell off. And when you're out of it, getting back into it, woo, no fun. And you got to take it slow. You're older. You don't want to hurt yourself. So we've been easing back into working out and eating better. And because some people, if you try to do too much too fast, even with the eating, they just go the other way. So, there's always stuff to improve upon, but I'm hoping to continue on the path. You just feel a lot better than carrying around this extra weight. I'd like to lose a good 40 pounds back to where I used to be.
We got a few things we wrote down that we're trying to go see in Anchorage. I don't know anything about these places. I haven't been to them. Looks like we have written down already the Aviation Museum in Anchorage, the Botanical Garden, the Native Heritage Center.
They have a zoo.
They have a zoo. They do, the Anchorage Zoo.
Yeah.
I've not been there, but I've heard good things about it. Not quite like the San Diego Zoo. It ain't quite that famous. But Anchorage Zoo might be interesting. There's an Anchorage trolley. I didn't even know about that, but it takes you around Anchorage and gives you kind of a, like it does in Key West.
Yeah, it's always good, I feel, to take the trolleys because the guides tell you a lot of stuff about the town and different places to eat, and they give you the inside info.
Yep.
So you usually get a lot of good information during those trolley tours. So, and then there's a lot of stuff I haven't even wrote down because there's like glacier tours and, we still haven't decided on the fishing, and there's just a lot of stuff still to think about. I'm excited though, because it'll be new adventures.
I got to remember to get in touch with Travis too, so he can get a good seat at the meeting.
I'm sure a lot of people have been in touch with him.
Yeah, I'm sure. He's been playing with microphones this week.
Yeah,
too,
I'm sure he's gonna be on point and
spot on. Yeah,
he'll have everything figured out.
You have to get down there in the front, not for the video.
It's always a learning lesson, and I'm pretty sure he learned.
Yeah, it's hard for the phones to pick up at that distance. So you have to get real close, and you have to move the phone back.
So people, don't worry, he's got it under control.
And we'll do just like we did last month. We'll do a screen record, and then we'll commentate on the following day, probably that Wednesday.
We have not had dinner yet. It is only, what time is it here?
It's only 3? It's only 3 here.
Trio tree. So we have not had dinner yet, but we will be having dinner later. We'll be having some delicious moose burgers, and I love me some moose. Oh, Travis said he's going to speak to the board about something.
Oh, you noticed that too. They used to have, they took prayer out. That's unfortunate, but they also went to one
set of comments.
One set of public comments instead of 2. And if you're only going to have one public comment, it should be about any subject. But it seems like they're doing it must be a public comment about something that transpired in the meeting.
Well, they can't really do that.
I don't think that's really legal, because what other time do you have to say anything to the board about something outside the meeting?
Right.
It's still relative.
You can still address other issues. I mean, it's the same as me saying you're not allowed to cuss in here. I prefer you not to cuss in here, but if that's what you're going to do and make a fool of yourself, that's on you. But I can't stop you. I can tell you not to do that and ask you not to do that and hope that you're respectful enough to not do those things. But if somebody wants to ask something or say something about another issue, that they should gladly accept that. That's what the meeting's for. I mean, you're representing a town of people. You should want to hear from the people about what's on their minds.
Once they seated those 4 members and they went on with the rest of the meeting, it went really quickly.
Yeah, it's amazing the difference.
Yeah.
When people aren't fighting you and making ridiculous mess of everything. I mean, again, you can see who's there for the right reasons and who's there for the wrong reasons.
This is the important thing.
Very clear.
This is the important thing with council board members in any town, anywhere, not just Otter Creek. But it's important that when a referendum is being presented to the council member on something you're going to have to vote on, don't be thinking of it as a personal attack. Like, for example, Zim is in favor of the community center. Several other people were in favor of the community center. You know, Reese doesn't think it's a good idea. So, you know, she likes Zim, but she didn't vote for it. That's an example. Or don't vote against someone because you don't like them. Think about what it is they're presenting. You know, there's been people on the board, you know, I don't care for Russell, but that doesn't mean that he can't put up something that I might support. You know, if
right. Not everybody's going to agree on everything all the time, but that shouldn't be a reason for you not to communicate, for you not to be able to run ideas past each other. It shouldn't be a block. And unfortunately, these days, on all levels, it has become a thing. If you don't agree on different things, that's it. Everything's shut down, and now you're like this with each other. That's so ridiculous.
If Russell said, I'm not going to vote for that, he just says no, or he just abstains from voting, right?
Sue me.
What he should do is say, no, I'm not in support of that, and here's why. Right? Because then that invokes dialogue. Okay, well, why not? Well, because of this. Well, that's not true. And see, it might get squashed because there might be some more information that either debunks him or...
Yeah, I mean, you should always listen to everybody's input. It sometimes is valuable information.
Yeah. So we're hoping that, you know, if Laura doesn't like Zim, let's say, for instance, I don't know that for sure. I have no idea. I don't care. But if Zim proposes something, and Laura probably would support it if she liked Zim, but decides she's not going to support it because she doesn't like Zim. That's not how you do business. You represent the town. So all you have to think about as a board member is this in the best interest of the town? Yes. So when it comes to the community center, is it in the best interest of the town? Short term it is. Can they fund it and afford it on a long term? Remains to be seen. I don't think so. But it remains to be seen.
I mean, I certainly hope if all that gets put into it and spent that it actually gets used.
Yeah.
One of the factors in my decision was looking at the library and the town hall and how it was utilized and specifically not utilized. So
in the past, I don't think it would have gotten used. But if the people change, if people start supporting the
then
town,
a community center could be wonderful because you can do all kinds of different programs in there. And these type of programs bring people together and get people moving. So it could be very beneficial.
And if these festivals are fruitful and bring a lot of people, then that can help fund, you know, future fund maintenance for the community center. It just depends on how people are going to react to it.
It's another thing I will throw positive energy and vibes at and hope it gets utilized in the right fashion.
And if it doesn't, then maybe
that's on them.
Maybe the town can sell it. I don't know what the plan, you know, what happens there, but we could also throw the town into bankruptcy. You know, we don't know.
Well, if they had to sell it, the proceeds from it go back to the state because that's grant money.
Right. Okay.
So it's not something where the town could make money off of in a sale.
Right. Okay.
So an otter rescue center.
But they could get out from under it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You can sell it and the proceeds go back to the state. So those type of things can happen. But we'll see. I mean, you gotta be hopeful and let things ride.
You got anything else for these fine people?
Just I'm looking forward to this week coming up. I hope everybody is got a good week in queue. I know everybody will be excited for Tuesday. We'll be in the crowd with y'all watching the meeting and praying for good things and the board coming together, making great decisions.
If they build a community center, could it be a hurricane center? Yes, it could.
Yes.
In the past, people had asked, could they use the town hall? And the people, I believe it was Mary and the person before Mary, they said no. So I don't understand that. I don't know that the current town hall would have been any safer structure than their house, but
and it was really small in there.
yeah, it's really small. But the community center, if it's built with hurricane force winds in mind, then I would say that could be
Usually that's the case that they allow that.
I think they do that now. That Otter Creek building is about 100 years old.
Can the town rent it out for parties, etc.? I do believe they can. I'm not completely sure on that, but I think so.
Yep. And I would create a separate account that's for future maintenance of the building. Like if you have a function and it creates money, that money should go toward the building, not towards something totally unrelated.
That was a funny comment.
Yeah, it was funny.
So someone did purchase microphones for Travis to use at the meeting. So thank you for that. I'm sure he appreciates that, and everybody else appreciates that. You know, it's good when everybody works together and looks out for each other. That's what we should be doing.
These microphones are pretty nice. They're real small.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. Thank you again to Sherry.
And they have different windsocks you can put on here, but this seems to be the most common. And all you do is the two microphones are identical. And then there's a piece that you plug into the bottom of your phone. So the receiver portion is powered by your phone. And then these I guess these have these are rechargeable. So you plug them in and charge them. But you can get 7 hours, I believe it's 7 hours of audio time on these. So I think they're perfect. They're small. They're not in the way.
Easy to charge and
easy to charge.
You know, thank you, Sherry, for being so thoughtful to us. And I'm sure everybody appreciates your gift as well. So everybody can hear better together.
Yeah. It's hard when you're like, eh.
That's what I do when you're talking all day long.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us. We're going to be off to eat some din, get some moose.
Yummy, 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 Mr. Bullwinkle. So we hope everybody has a good day and you had good time with your father or your son or any family members, any friends. Anytime you're around anybody having fun is a good time. So
take care of yourself during those heat waves that are coming up this
week. Stay hydrated. Take care of each other. Check on each other. Just show the love to each other. That's what makes the world a better place, is if everybody starts being more positive together.
Yep.
We can change things together.
Yep. And we thank you for being with us on Madam Mayor's Adventures as we scurry off to more adventure.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you next Sunday. And if you're one of the members, we'll see you sometime during the week doing something.
Yep.
So y'all take care of each other. We love you.
God bless.
Peace.
Peace.